Thank you everyone for joining my first webinar. And I appreciate you being part of the guinea pigs that are going to be testing this thing for me. So I have been working on my signature talk, and this is one of many that I'm putting together. I thought I would start out with this one. I do have one for just dog training, which I will present at another time. I figured this one was completed, so I was going to start with this one. So this is all about how to start your own dog training business. This is to promote our shadow program, and we're going to see how it goes. So here it goes. So like many of you, I was told, you know what, go out, go to college, get a degree, get a good job, and, buy a house, start a family. That's the American dream. That's what I was told. That's what I was sold on. And so I said, okay, I had my target. I'm going for it. So I did that. I was in my early 30s. I had a high-paying corporate job. I had a nice car. I had my first house. I had, a great job. I thought I had everything. I thought I had the American dream. That's what I was told. Get this done. Once you have all that, you can start your family and you've got it made. This is the American dream. So here I am. I have the American dream minus the family. And I'm thinking, why is my life still feeling so empty? Why do I feel so stressed out? Why am I so sick all the time? Why am I not feeling fulfilled? This is supposed to be the dream. And yet here I am, I've accomplished it all. I still feel empty. So I said, all right, there's got to be something more. This can't be it. This can't be everything. There has to be more to life than this. Just going from one airport to another, one endless meeting to another. There's got to be more to life. So I sat, I re-examined my life, and I figured out, okay, what is it that really brings me joy? What can I do that really makes me happy? And I thought of my dogs. They're the ones that whenever I was with them, I felt the happiest. And they always say, you know what, before you start a family, you should really get a dog, get some kind of pet, test it out, see how you would do as a parent. If you can parent a dog, you can parent a kid. That's what they say. So that's what I did. I went out to a shelter and I found what I thought was going to be the perfect dog. Standing there, I look at this dog. She's a black lab. She looks so sweet, just like an angel. Little did I know that when I brought her home, she was more like the demon dog from hell. She was extremely aggressive. She was biting me all the time. She had major separation anxiety to the point where every single one of my neighbors wanted to kick me out of my condo because she just would not shut up. Now, the final straw was one day I came home, went to find my dog. She's standing in the middle of my bed. She waits till I get into the room. She stares me right in the eye and she squats and pees in the middle of my bed. I'm like, what the fuck? Seriously? This was supposed to be the dog that's supposed to fulfill my life, and she's making my life miserable. So I said to myself, all right, this dog needs some training. What am I going to do? So after 2 long years of learning how to train Kayla through experimentation, through reading books, through spending thousands of dollars on outside help and different training programs, I finally got her to the point where she became the angel that I knew she was capable of being. Now, because of this success, I had people starting to ask me for help with their dogs. So I spent the next 25 years helping people train their dogs. Now, this entire time, I was still working at my corporate job, flying from city to city. And in my off time, I would train dogs. So this was just a hobby. It was my side hustle that I wasn't really even making any money on at first. Then I finally got good enough, I thought, to make that leap. So I did. I finally decided now was the moment. I was ready to go all in and make this my full-time career. It was both scary and thrilling at the same time because now I had no fallback. My side hustle had become my main hustle. So I go in, very first year, I barely made about half of what I normally make in my corporate job. But I was like, okay, hey, it's all right. It's your first business, just starting out. Now, today, because of everything that I've learned, I am now gotten this business to a seven-figure business through putting systems and repeatable processes in place. So I help people just like you who may be tired of your job, those who would love to have a profitable dog training business and would be happy to work every day with dogs. My name is Nicole Buck, and I believe everyone can have a business or a career that brings them joy and also allows them to be with those that they love. So over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you how to do that. The three most important steps to begin to build your successful dog training business. So the first thing that we're going to go over is how to communicate and understand dog language. So we're going to talk about dog's body language and why that's important. Because with any new endeavor, especially when you're dealing with dogs, you need to learn how to communicate with them. You need to understand what they're telling you. Because if you can't even communicate with a dog, how are you going to train them? How are you going to affect any kind of change? So this is extremely important because this helps you to interpret and then modify or change any strategy that you have when you're training a dog. It helps you and gives you clues on what a dog is saying and how to effectively communicate and train with any dog. Over 80% of communication is nonverbal. So understanding a dog's body language is very critical in understanding a dog. Now, the foundation to being effective with a dog and communicating with them is to establish trust and respect. And in order to do that, you really need to understand what your dog is saying to you silently through their body language. How do you know when you have that dog's trust? And there are a lot of misconceptions about dogs' body language, and we're going to go over some of those today. And some of the biggest misconceptions out there about dogs' body language, which can definitely lead you astray when you're trying to work with a dog. It can, if you're dealing with an aggressive dog, it can get you bit. It can get you attacked. There are a lot of different things that are going to be pitfalls for people who maybe misinterpret a dog's body language. So we're going to go over all of that and why and how that's important for anyone who is interested in potentially becoming a dog trainer. So for me, dog training comes down to three elements when you're understanding a dog's body language: the butt or the tail, the body and what that's telling you, and of course the brain. And with those elements, I've got some pictures here to show you some of the differences that you'll see in a dog's tail or a butt. So the first one, you'll see the dog's tail is tucked under, and she is completely shut down, afraid, anxious, nervous, unsure. And you'll notice that with the tail being completely tucked under. So that's a dog who's very shut down and afraid. So whenever you see a dog's tail completely tucked under like that, you need to work carefully around that dog. Now, the next picture, the dog is in a more neutral position, actually the next two pictures. So the tail is straight out. It's in a very neutral, that's what we call neutral posture. There's actually two positions where the tail is neutral. It could be straight out or it could just be straight down, hanging nice and relaxed. But mostly it's straight out. That's what we call the neutral position. And you can see the two various pictures. Now, the last picture that you see here is the tail completely up, straight and stiff and slightly arched. That is a very dominant very confident dog, sometimes a little overconfident. So think of somebody who's basically saying to you, hey, you know what? I know I'm the shit and I got this. And don't mess with me because I got I got this. If you want to try and mess with me, you can, but I'm telling you right now, don't even try it. So that's a very confident dog. It's one that may be kind of challenging dogs around them, just letting everyone know they're posturing, they're saying, hey, I got this, don't even try it. So these are the various positions of a tail that is in different states of mind. So when you're looking at a dog and trying to understand their state of mind, don't worry about the tail wagging or moving. Look at the position because that's going to tell you a lot more. Now, understanding the various postures and what it means. Again, some additional pictures here. You have a little puppy who's kind of posturing. Now, this one, he's just very confident. He knows, he has no qualms about who he is. And thing that you also want to be aware of with this particular picture is it is a husky. Their tails tend to curl up. So even though it looks like he may be kind of posturing and full of himself and very confident, you do have to take into consideration the breed of the dog and its natural tail position. So huskies tend to naturally have their tail go up and curled. Now, in this case, for this dog, he really is very confident. So I can say, because I know this one, that he is very confident and he's feeling pretty full of himself, which, we love that. You just have to be careful that he doesn't take that to the wrong dog. But you do have to be aware of a dog's breed and their natural tail position because that will sometimes play a part. Now his tail is up, but it's not really stiff. It's not quivering up high and arched and really stiff. He's just kind of high and just relaxed. It's a natural tail position for a husky. And again, another picture of the tail being tucked under, where she's very unsure, she's very insecure. And then we have one who's a very neutral position. She's happy-go-lucky, she's focused, she's what we call the happiest that you can be when you have a tail in that position. That's the state of mind that you want a dog to be in. Now, there are also, the position of the hind legs that will tell you a lot about a dog. For instance, there's one here where the dog's up on its hind legs with his front legs up, trying to get some attention, trying to get people to focus on him. He's a little bit unsure, a little bit insecure. He wants attention. He's driving for that attention. It's why dogs will jump up on people, especially puppies. They will jump up on their moms and on other dogs to try and get that attention from you. And so a lot of dogs will do that. And there is a etymology to that behavior as far as jumping up and licking and things like that we can go into a little bit later. But there is a behavior that we see that oftentimes will result in a dog's, jumping up. There is a lot of times it's a bid for attention. It's, some poor manners in many cases, but really the etymology of that behavior is young puppies will typically jump up, lick the mouth of their mother to get food, to offer submission. So there's a variety of reasons why dogs will do that. But as older dogs, typically they're doing it just because it's bad manners and they just want attention. The next picture that you see is this dog who is very fearful. He is doing everything he can to just hide and get away from a stressful situation, mainly being around a pack of unfamiliar dogs. So he is doing everything he can, including trying to climb into an empty box just to get away from people. So his body language right there is just, I want to avoid and I want to get away from any environmental threat that he perceives. Now, the other two in this next picture, you can see one tail down, relaxed. Now, these are two huskies again. This is a husky. These are huskies where their natural tail position is to be kind of curved. And you'll see here these two tail postures. One is relaxed and down, the black one, Misty, and the other one, his tail is up. Now, the one that's up, ordinarily that is a natural position, but I also happen to know this dog very well. And he does tend to be very dominant and also likes to posture and express his dominance. And so that tail posture being up the way it is perfectly natural for him to demonstrate and show to everyone, hey, I got this. Don't mess with me. So again, you will oftentimes see that. And then this last picture that you see is this dog. He is in a down. Now you would think, oh, he's calm, he's, cool, he's collected. He's not. He's very nervous. You can see from his eyes, from his facial expression, his mouth is closed, his ears are pinned back. And even though he's kind of laying to his side, which is a more relaxed position, he's still not 100% calm, cool, collected, neutral, what we call it. He's not in the best frame of mind. So these are all things that you need to take a look at when you're looking at a dog and their communication. So moving up, I had one picture of a dog's hackle. So I'm sorry, it's a black dog. You may not be able to see it very well, but oftentimes people say, oh yeah, the fur on the back of my dog's hair is just standing straight up. That's called the hackles. So it goes from literally the back of the neck all the way down to their tail. And when that is standing straight up, almost like a mohawk, then you know your dog is what we call aroused. It doesn't necessarily mean they're feeling aggressive. It doesn't mean that they're feeling scared. It could mean either one of those things, actually. But what it truly means is they're in a heightened state of arousal, meaning a heightened state of either excitement or fear or just a stressed mindset. So when a dog's hackles are raised like that, it's typically excitement, fear, or that they are just uncomfortable. They're very uncomfortable typically. They're just not comfortable with the situation that they're in or with what they're encountering. And again, it doesn't always mean that the dog is aggressive. It just means that they are uncomfortable in that present situation. So the next thing that we're going to move to is the head or the brain. And that encompasses ear, it encompasses the nose, it encompasses the eyes, the mouth, and kind of what a dog is thinking through the various expressions that you'll see. So I've got several pictures here that I'm going to kind of go through. And this is by no means every interpretation or every visual cue that you're going to see from a dog. These are just some of the more common ones that you're going to notice. So you see on the first picture, Indian Trini, Shepherd mixes, they are alert, they're focused, they're paying attention, but they're not stressed and they're not feeling necessarily aggressive. They're just very alert, paying attention, like, okay, what's up? What do you want? They're focused on a particular object. In this case, it was me because I was calling their attention. In the next picture, you can see 3 different examples of 3 different mindsets. One is a little bit anxious and insecure. The other one's just like, yeah, whatever. And the third one's just, yeah, I've been through this. I'm just sleeping through it. Totally relaxed. And so you'll see, even though they're all kind of laying on their side, their hindquarters are off to the side, which is a more relaxed position. Their facial expressions tell you 3 different stories. So the first one, the ears kind of pinned back a little bit. He's a little bit of a nervous Nelly. He's always been a little bit of a nervous Nelly. He's always anticipating, okay, what's going to happen? What's next? What's going to happen? What are you going to do? What am I going to have to do? So he's always very nervous dog. And the next one, not as nervous. He used to be, but he's gotten much more relaxed. And then Betty, she could care less. She's just sleeping through the entire thing. She's been through it all. She knows. Now, the next picture is one of our puppies who just had a bath. And you can see he's quite miserable. His eyes are closed, his head's hanging down. His whole posture is telling you, I am very unhappy and I'm very upset. His ears are not quite pinned back, but they are definitely pulled back. And his whole body language is just screaming, I am very unhappy with this unpleasant experience that I just had to deal with, meaning he just got a bath. So his whole body posture is just telling you that, from his head all the way down. And then the next picture is yet another one of our puppies who's just happy-go-lucky. You can see he almost looks like he's smiling. His mouth is open, he's engaged, and his eyes, are soft, we call it. He's just happy-go-lucky, ready for whatever. He's just like, all right, just bring it, whatever you want. I'm game. So, and then the next picture is of, a couple of our dogs who are, again, this is the first two dogs that you saw. Now you can see the different facial expressions on them. The ears are pinned back. They're basically expressing a little bit of insecurity, like, I don't know what's going on, or what do you want, or maybe I did something wrong. With their ears being back like that, their eyes kind of being downcast. They think they may have done something wrong. And we've all seen those dogs where, they come to you and their ears are back and their head's hanging down a little bit low. And they're like, okay, I know I did something wrong. What did I do? So a lot of dogs, you'll see that type of facial expression and the ears being back like that, letting you know that they may have done something that they shouldn't have. So again, and the importance of nose and eyes, I can't express enough how important that is. When you see a dog where they're focused primarily with their eyes, you want to be careful, because when they're focused with their eyes, that's where they have that mindset of, okay, maybe I want to, maybe I'm a little too focused on this, and maybe I want to potentially attack something, or they're what we call hyperfixated on something, and it could lead to a very bad decision. Kind of like the first dog. He's very hyperfixated on something to the point where he's kind of leaning in. He's very, very focused. His mouth is closed and he's not engaging his nose at all. It's all eyes. Now, the next picture, on the other hand, is they are very focused with their eyes, but they're very focused because there's a treat. Very, very different. Their eyes are not like hyper focused. They're not leaning in to, something that they are hyper fixated on. They're just waiting for a treat. So understanding the differences where the one posture is kind of leaning almost forward with what we call a hard stare. This one is just, they're just waiting. They know that they're going to be given a command and they're going to get something good. They're just waiting for what's next. And then actually, I don't know why we have these two pictures together, the same picture, but again, a dog happy-go-lucky, relaxed, mouth open, ears back, just waiting, and could care less, just happy, happy, happy puppy. Now, when I say when a dog focuses and their eyes are hard, take a look at this right here. See the focus on that dog, the hard stare, the mouth being closed, the ears perked, and the dog is just staring very intently at something. That's what we call a hard stare, or being hyper fixated or hyper focused on something. That's when you have to be very careful with a dog who's doing that, because that dog could potentially be getting ready to launch itself at something. So whenever I see a dog hyperfixate, I always want to redirect. So always be careful when you see a dog do that. That's a good sign that a dog is not thinking anything good. A couple of signs of stress that we want to make you aware of, because we get a lot of anxious, stress, dogs in. Typically, they're going to do a lot of licking. We'll do some yawning, drooling, and they a lot of times will sweat. If you've ever taken a dog who's very uncomfortable into a public store and you suddenly see paw prints, it's because they sweat through their paws. And so you'll see the paw prints on the floor because that's how they are relieving some of that stress. They're literally sweating it out through their paws. And you can see an example here with this little puppy who's very insecure and anxious. Her head is dipped down low. You can see the whites of her eyes. We call that the whale eyes, where she's giving you kind of the side eye. She's crouched down. and she just looks really, really nervous. So these are all signs of stress that you may see in a dog. And just be aware of what you're observing, because stress, oftentimes, if a dog's under enough stress or duress, they can retaliate through aggression, or they can shut down, or they can try and dart and run away. So you always want to be aware of signs of stress in your dog. Now, putting it all together, you can see one totally relaxed on his back, totally chill, and the other one kind of staring and like, okay, what's next? Give me something to do. There is a lot, like I said, that a dog can tell you. This is just a very high level of some of the things that you can observe in your dog and what they're telling you through their body language. Now, this is by no means everything, but I did want to at least give you a very high level overview. There are many books out there. There's a lot of videos that you can view that is going to give you some additional information. But this is just to give you a good foundation and basis so that when you do start working with dogs, you have at least a rudimentary understanding of what a dog is communicating to you through its body language. So, practical tips for interacting with dogs based on their body language. Really make sure you observe everything from head to toe, or in this case, tail. Take a look at that tail position, because everyone else is going to be telling you, hey, when a dog's tail is wagging, they're happy. It's not true. Instead, what that really means is they're just excited. It's the position of that tail that is going to give you a better indication of that dog's state of mind. So take a look at the position of the tail, not the fact that it's wagging. Okay. Take a look at the body posture. Is it stiff? Is it relaxed? Now, how's the dog kind of moving? What does the head look like? What does the ears look like? Is the mouth closed? Is the eye staring hard? There's all sorts of things that the body can tell you from head to tail that you can interpret without ever once speaking to the dog, without ever once really communicating in any other way. Just simply observing the dog's body language can give you so much information as to the dog's state of mind, as to what they may potentially do next, and how you can thereby interact with that dog safely or effectively, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So that's all I'm covering right now for our body language. Next, I am going to cover choosing the best type of business, what your goals are. So there are a lot of different types. I'm just going to cover three. The three that I looked at before I chose the one that I chose, and that is a sole proprietor, limited liability corporation, or an S corporation. And what are the pros and cons of each? So, sole proprietorship. Basically, it's very easy to set up. You have complete control of your business. You don't have to worry about anybody else. You keep all the profits, and of course, you have to pay your bills and things like that. But pretty much, you are your own boss. You do everything. You're responsible for everything. Unfortunately, though, with that, you don't really have a lot of coverage from litigation, from any kind of personal liability. So if someone wants to sue you, you're pretty much on the hook for everything, because they can go after you personally as well as your business. And also, when you are a sole proprietor, it can be difficult to get loans, to get any type of funding if you need to start or grow your business and you want to do it by using someone else's money. It can also be very hard to find people who want to work for you if you're a sole proprietor, because then you have to figure out how you're going to structure the payment, what you're going to pay, if you're going to offer benefits. So there's a variety of reasons. And most people don't want to work for just a single boss. They want to work for a company. They want to know that the company is protected, at least on some level, from litigation. So if anything does happen, that they're not gonna, the company's not gonna go belly up. So pros and cons, yes, it's great. You basically get to keep all your money, but there are some pitfalls to it as well. Now, the one that I chose was the LLC, or limited liability company or corporation. And here, the reason why I chose this is because it does offer some flexibility and also personal liability. So I was able to get insurance. I was able to protect the business from my personal finances. So people can't go after me personally. They can only go after the business, which to me was really important. This also provided flexibility as far as the structure of the business. So I could do a 1099, which is what I ended up doing. It also allowed for taxation for, IRS. You always want to be cognizant of, making sure the IRS gets their share of the money. It allows you to write off a lot more when you have an LLC versus a sole proprietor. Now, some of the fallbacks to LLC is it's a little bit more complex to set up than being a sole proprietor. There is potential for having to pay your own self-employment taxes. So if you do pay yourself a salary, you're going to have to pay taxes on that. And then it will vary by state. So you have to be aware of your local state's LLC regulations and stipulations. So this is where you're either going to have to read the right information or consult an attorney. But for me, it was the best choice because it gave me the most flexibility while also giving me the best legal liability coverage and without costing an arm and a leg. So the S corporation, while has the best protection from a liability and legal standpoint, and also from debts and obligations and things of that nature, it's a lot stricter and harder to set up. There's a lot more requirements. And for something like this, it's highly recommended that you either consult an attorney or a really good accountant so you don't mess it up, because the last thing you're going to want is to set something up like this and then end up with a lot of back taxes because you messed something up. This is the big leaks. This is where you're going to need to have an attorney or a high-level accountant able to do your taxes for you to make sure that you're covered from a federal tax standpoint. So that's part of the reason why I did not choose an S corporation, because at the time I was starting my business, I was trying to do it with the least amount of upfront cost. And for me, the best protection for the least amount of cost was the LLC. So that's, up to you to decide. Now, the next topic that we're going to go over is how to make money. Because, any business, the goal of it is to make money, to be self-sufficient, to support yourself. So we're going to go over, again, at a high level, how do you grow your business through marketing and sales so that you can make a living out of it. So what we are going to go over is creating, marketing content. So when I first started, I created a website, I had all these social media things that I created, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the whole nine. So I did all of that because I wanted to make sure that I had all of that content to direct people to throw out content for people to know who I was and to actually have physical proof that I had a business and that I was successful and that I was able to accomplish what I set out to accomplish, mainly showing people, yes, I can train dogs and I'm really good at it, and here's the proof. So you can do that by creating content, however way you choose. You can do newsletters, you can do blog posts, you can do videos, you can do a lot of different things. There's a lot of digital content that you can create. There's also something called search engine optimization, SEO. Don't be scared by the name. I know it gets bandied about a lot. Basically, what it really means is putting your website and business name out there to the point where it's on enough search engines, and it's got enough keywords that when people search for like dog training or dog trainers near me, that your website bubbles up to the top. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. You can hire people, you can do it yourself. You can go to every single search engine and put information in there to make sure that you're top of the list when people do searches. There's a variety of ways, but this is something that I would highly recommend everyone get their minds around and understand how it works, and make sure that you do what you need to ensure that when people do a search for you, that they're going to find you, because that's how they do that, through search engine optimization. Now, they're also doing these things right now through like what is it, Siri and Google Maps and Apple Maps and what's the other one? Alexis, where if people do a search and they say, Alexis, find me the nearest blah, blah, blah. Or Siri, where's the best dog trainer near me? So those are also areas where you can pursue search engine optimization. It's more of a verbal or a vocal search engine tied to typically a map, like a GPS mapping system, but that's also kind of the next evolution. And so if you want to really increase your search engine optimization, you need to take a look at those things as well. So the next is social media engagement. This is where having that Facebook, the Instagram, the TikTok, the YouTube, making sure that you're on there, that you're putting good content, not just, trash, but good, useful, informational content, and not just about the business. You want to make it fully fleshed out to things that are going on in your life, other activities that you're doing. It's not just the business. People want to know who they're doing business with, not just the business person, but what you do in your spare time, what your life is all about. You don't have to go into like minute detail, but people want to know who you are as a person, because people do business with people they like. So you have to be likable. So it can't just be all business. You have to make yourself likable. You have to make yourself someone that they want to be friends with, that is engaging. And in order to do that, you have to ensure that you're putting content that's not just business related, but also fun and engaging and funny and off the wall and different, because you need to stand out. So social media engagement is very important when you're starting out a business like dog training. The next is word of mouth and referrals. Now, this is where doing what I call organic growth is going to be extremely important. This is where you're going to spend the time to talk to people, to make sure that what you're doing is so valuable that other people are talking about it, whether you're there or not. And one of the best ways that I found to do that is find 1 or 2 different stores that allow dogs. Go there on a weekly basis, get to know the people who work there, show off your dogs. You will find that they will start to become your advocates. So now they're promoting you whether you're there or not. And then eventually business will start to flow. But you have to put the time in. This is not going to be a quick fix, easy, I'm just going to get customers right away. This is going to be something you have to invest a lot of time and energy into. It's going to take weeks, if not months. But if you keep at it and you continue to do it, you will see success. Now, of course, you have to be good at what you do for people to want to talk about you and recommend you. So I will say you have to put your time in and be good at your craft before you start to show it off. But if you are and you show it off, you will be amazed at how much business you can get by doing that. Getting testimonials, getting people to, like I said, be an advocate for you and talk about you whether you're there or not. So those are the 3 critical components to starting your own dog training business. And so a lot of times I will get people who come up to me and ask me, hey, Nicole, can you help me start my own dog training business? The answer is yes. Yes, I can. I've worked with people who love dogs and wish that they could have a job or a business that allows them to be with dogs every day. My program teaches you how to train dogs, gives you hands-on experience working with dogs, and shows you everything you need to start and grow your own profitable dog training business. You then can spend all day, every day, doing what you love. Whether you've never trained a dog or had your own business, whether you have successfully trained many dogs and have your own small business, or whether you are successful but need to get to that next plateau, this call is for you. Now, picture a day when you have trained a client's dog so well that they leave you your first 5-star review. Picture a day when a client comes to you and says, "We almost put our dog down, but because of you, he is transformed into my service dog." Picture a day when your calendar is full of clients and your bank account shows over 6 figures. That day is just one short call away. Don't waste one more day of your life wondering and worrying about how to get started on your own dog training business. Today is the day you can begin your journey to building a profitable business that you love. I can help you with that. The next step is to join me on a free How to Start Your Dog Training Business call. You can scan the QR code to set up that free call directly onto my calendar. You deserve to have your own business so that you wake up excited and energized. You deserve to have your own business that gives you financial freedom. You deserve to have your own business where you are in control. You deserve to have your own business.